Drew McIntyre has proven time and time again that he can handle business on his own, but after years of seeing WWE waste opportunities on people that he sees as undeserving, guys like Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, Drew has had enough. This story sees how the landscape of WWE could dramatically shift if Drew McIntyre began his own faction, his own reign of terror in the WWE. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. At Wrestlemania 41, Drew McIntyre faces one of the most crushing defeats of his career, losing to LA Knight in what many believe could be his final match in WWE. As the crowd watches in disbelief, Drew walks off with his head down and the rumours start swirling. This time, it seems like it's real. WWE pulls all of his merchandise from their website and his name is completely absent from TV. For months, fans are left in the dark, wondering where McIntyre has gone, with speculation running wild. Then, mid-July, SmackDown, the night that everything changes in the WWE. The new champion CM Punk defends his undisputed WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes in what's set to be a historic WrestleMania rematch between two fan favourites. Punk was the one to win the Elimination Chamber and went on to headline WrestleMania against Rhodes, defeating him on the grandest stage. The fans of course wanted John Cena to win that match, but he was eliminated by Logan Paul. The match on SmackDown is everything it promised to be, hard-hitting and full of emotion, but the ending shocks the world. Suddenly, hooded figures emerge from the shadows surrounding the ring. The crowd goes silent and then erupts as the figures storm the ring, attacking both Cody Rhodes and CM Punk in a savage display. A familiar figure emerges onto the stage, Drew McIntyre. He walks slowly, with his eyes burning with a new intensity. The crowd is stunned, unsure of what's unfolding. As the hooded figures continue their brutal assault on both competitors, Drew enters the ring. Without hesitation, he directs his attackers to land a devastating double team on Cody. Punk rises to his feet, desperate to fight back, but before he can even react, McIntyre delivers a thunderous claymore that sends him crashing to the mat. Drew stares at a lifeless CM Punk, his eyes seething with anger. The hooded figures pull back their hoods, revealing themselves as Gallus, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang. The Scottish Suns have officially arrived, and Drew McIntyre is back, stronger than ever, with a powerful force behind him. Drew appears on SmackDown the following week. He makes it very clear that he did not form a faction in order to boost his own stock. He's already on his way back to the top, and nothing will stop him. Instead, he wants to reshape WWE by surrounding himself with those who have been overlooked for far too long. The fact that CM Punk is champion makes Drew sick. He wants to bring legitimacy back to the roster, to fill it with the right kind of talent, his own Scottish Brotherhood. Drew McIntyre knows better than anyone the struggle of fighting for a spot at the top. McIntyre looks to his fellow Scots, men who have been grinding for years but haven't been given the spotlight that they deserve. He recruits Wolfgang, a fighter with a bruising style, perfect for enforcing Drew's vision. He also brings in Wolfgang's Gallus counterparts, Mark and Joe Coffey, to dominate the tag team division. With the Scottish Suns now fully assembled, Drew McIntyre and his faction set their sights on dominating WWE. The Coffey brothers, Joe and Mark, waste no time in making an impact, taking out the top tag teams on SmackDown, asserting their dominance as the new standard for tag team wrestling. Meanwhile, Wolfgang emerges as the group's loose cannon, quick to strike and savage in his attacks, often targeting Drew's enemies in violent, unprovoked outbursts. Drew's eyes are set on the undisputed WWE Championship, currently held by CM Punk. But before he can get his shot, he knows he has to eliminate the other challengers standing in his way. First on his list is LA Knight, the man who gave Drew one of the worst nights of his career at Wrestlemania 41. At Money in the Bank, the two men clash in a rematch that carries the weight of their previous encounter. But this is not the Drew McIntyre who lost at WrestleMania. This is a cold, calculated and merciless version of the Scotsman. Drew is relentless, taking out Knight in a brutal, unforgiving manner. After McIntyre defeats Knight with his devastating Claymore, he commands Wolfgang to deliver a savage beatdown, sending Knight crashing through a table in a sickening display. With his itch for revenge now scratched, Drew McIntyre turns his attention back to his true goal, the undisputed WWE Championship. Drew earns the right to battle CM Punk for the title at SummerSlam. The odds are somewhat stacked against McIntyre as he did not fare too well against CM Punk the last time out. Punk has been on a roll since winning the Elimination Chamber, which is a fact that Drew is reminded of by another Scotsman, Noam Dar. Dar sees himself as a tactical genius. He prides himself on his ability to craft the perfect strategies, calculating the best possible course of action to ensure victory. Unlike Drew, who is all about breaking bones and ending careers, Dar is obsessed with winning by tactical means, often using underhanded ones to get the job done. Dar has a way of thinking that others simply don't, and he believes his approach is the missing piece for Drew and the Scottish Suns. But Drew is not interested in tactics, he's focused on aggression and destruction. Dar's flashy personality and his reliance on calculation don't fit with McIntyre's brutal vision. This ultimately costs Drew this time. He assumes that his aggression and the devastation he causes would be enough to put Punk away, but you can never underestimate the champion. Punk would take it to a whole other level like he often does, especially when the odds are stacked against him. Punk would force McIntyre to tap out to the Anaconda Vice, and his title reign continues. Time and time again, Dar tries to convince Drew of his worth, but is rejected every time. Undeterred, Dar refuses to be left on the sidelines. He knows he has to make a statement to get Drew's attention. Drew's path to the top is far from clear. He has to become #1 contender once again. Dar sees an opportunity to prove his worth, and he makes sure that he does. Prior to McIntyre's #1 contendership match against Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, Dar quietly orchestrates a plan. He instructs Wolfgang to attack Rhodes backstage, targeting his ankle to incapacitate him with some brutal strikes. Rhodes tries to fight through the pain, but McIntyre is soon easily in control as he locks in a devastating Achilles lock on Rhodes, forcing him to tap out and securing his spot in the title match. Impressed by the tactical brilliance, Drew finally sees value in Noam Dar. The plan worked to perfection, and Dar's ability to think several steps ahead has earned him a place within the Scottish Suns. Drew welcomes him into the fold, acknowledging that while he may not always agree with Dar's methods, the results speak for themselves. Drew battles Punk once again, but this time it's at Clash at the Castle in Paris, France. Punk arrives with confidence once again, but this time McIntyre has a tactical edge, the genius of Noam Dar. Punk and Drew would go to war for a solid 30 minutes, but not just in a singles match. This time it's Hell in a Cell, as Drew looks to right the wrongs from his Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk in 2024. The match gets to the point where it seems that Punk is going to take the victory once again, after an emphatic second GTS of the match. Until Noam Dar and his tactical brilliance shows up once again. Dar emerges from under the ring as Punk calls for the third GTS on Drew. But Dar enters the ring and blasts Punk with a baseball bat to the back. Drew stalks Punk until he finally gets back to his feet before connecting with a definitive claymore. 1, 2, 3. Drew is the new, undisputed WWE champion. Drew regains the title once again, and all is good in the world of Drew McIntyre, and he owes a lot of the credit to the tactics of Noam Dar. Dar spent the entire show under the ring, waiting for the right moment to strike, and he got it right this time. Drew credits Dar and the rest of the Scottish Suns as the reason that the fans tune in every week. These are the real stars of WWE, not like those has-beens Randy Orton, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. After mentioning his name, Randy Orton appears on the stage. Orton rips into Drew with a savage promo, saying how it took a guy who was branded as the Chosen One over 10 years after his debut to actually win the WWE title, whilst Orton on the other hand was the youngest world champion in history, just 2 years into his career. Orton goes on to state that there's a certain PLE coming up called Survivor Series, and there's a fair few guys in the back that have a problem with the Scottish Suns. How about the 4 Scottish Suns take on Orton's team at Survivor Series? The Scottish Suns accept, seeing it as a great opportunity to eradicate the has-beens that have been holding them back. The Scottish Suns arrive ready to fight at Survivor Series. First it's the Coffey brothers Joe and Mark alongside Wolfgang, and next of course is the undisputed WWE champion Drew McIntyre, flanked by his tactical genius Noam Dar. Orton arrives next, followed by his main event team of Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, and the man that McIntyre defeated at Clash at the Castle, CM Punk. The two teams go to absolute war in the match. All kinds of weapons are thrown into the mix, but the match really kicks off when CM Punk enters the ring. He gets his hands on Noam Dar, who is climbed into the cage earlier in the match. Dar tries to escape the cage, but Punk knocks him off the top and he takes a sick bump to the ring, before eventually receiving a GTS for good measure. The Scottish Suns have a terrible night, leaving Drew McIntyre to take the finish of all the competitors in the match. After an RKO and lastly a very decisive GTS, Punk pins McIntyre for the win. The team of main eventers pick up the win here tonight, but a very furious Drew McIntyre is still the champion, which is all that matters to the Scottish psychopath. CM Punk vows to regain the title that was taken away from him, and he can still use his rematch clause. Punk decides to do this at the Royal Rumble in 2026, Punk vs Drew live for the undisputed WWE Championship. The match is another banger, but it does unfortunately have some interference from the Scottish Suns, but Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes soon level the playing field. With the commotion under control, Punk looks to win back the undisputed title, but he of course has Noam Dar to deal with. After an Irish whip, Dar grabs Punk's leg, which of course distracts Punk and the referee, allowing McIntyre to attack from behind. Dar would try to hide the championship from CM Punk at ringside, distracting Punk again, but Punk would catch Dar in the act, saying that the title is not going anywhere, but it would all be another tactical plan to allow McIntyre to regain some momentum with a right hook. Late in the match, Punk would finally land a GTS on Dar, and McIntyre would attempt a Future Shock DDT, but Punk would catch his leg before landing a GTS on the champion to secure the victory and winning back the undisputed WWE Championship. It would seem like that's the last we see of Drew McIntyre tonight, but as number 27 in the Royal Rumble, Rey Mysterio makes his way to the ring. He is attacked from behind by McIntyre, who targets Rey's leg. McIntyre takes Rey's spot in the Rumble match, and unfortunately for everyone watching, he goes on to win the Rumble match, booking his place at Wrestlemania. It will be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre one final time. Punk and McIntyre would have one last showdown before WrestleMania, as fans anticipate the most personal WrestleMania main event in WWE history, a match that will finally end this bitter feud between two guaranteed Hall of Famers. Triple H adds some stipulations to the match, announcing that the contest will be no holds barred, and that Wolfgang, the Coffey Brothers, and Noam Dar are all banned from ringside. Punk and McIntyre would clash for the final time at WrestleMania 42. This rivalry has been one of the most personal feuds in WWE history, and it ends here tonight. Punk and McIntyre would fight like their careers are on the line in a no-holds-barred contest, but for McIntyre, the Coffey Brothers Wolfgang and Noam Dar are all banned from ringside. After a brutal war, Punk puts McIntyre through the announce table late in the match with an Impaler DDT, before desperately rolling him back into the ring. Punk would stalk McIntyre before landing a GTS, but McIntyre would kick out at 2. Looking for a solution to win, Punk resorts to desperate levels as he hits McIntyre with his own move, the Claymore, but again, McIntyre refuses to lose. Punk awaits a GTS one more time, but the camera pans to a hooded figure on the ring apron. Punk squares up to the figure and is about to deliver a right hand, but they reveal themselves as Alba Fire. The Scottish star shocks Punk, who turns around to a gut-wrenching Claymore. Drew is the new, undisputed WWE champion. The current members of the Scottish Suns were banned from ringside, but no one said anything about their newest acquisition, Alba Fire. The Scottish Suns break the hearts of every CM Punk fan at WrestleMania. McIntyre and his ruthless warriors grow stronger, their numbers growing, their dominance unquestioned, and their reign untested. Until the question is asked, who has the strength, the unity, and the sheer force of will to bring down the Scottish Suns? If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, and feel free to support me here on YouTube as a channel member or over on Patreon, where you can watch all of my video uploads early. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.